Welcome
Wow.
to it.
Sorry.
Welcome.
Sorry, go on.
Welcome to.
No, you just.
Welcome to edition 110 of All Killa No Filla podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn, and Kiri Pritchard-McLean. Just before we start, we'll do our usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have mutual interest in serial killers. As long as we add in this podcast, it stops us from writing to them in prison.
Which is where we're recording this podcast from, as you can tell by the bars.
Don't really need the disclaimer for this because it's the Q&A. Yeah, this is... We've been jailed.
We've been jailed
for crimes against podcasting.
There's a few people in the line in front of us, I would say.
I think so,
before
yeah.
they get to us. We are recording this backstage at the Manchester Opera House, which is our sort of halfway mark of our live tour in 2024, in case you're watching this in the future.
Wow.
On a chip in your eye.
Wow. What do you imagine when you think of the future? Do you imagine...
genuinely an arid, burnt desert.
I still imagine like the Jetsons, the cartoon.
Really?
Yeah.
No, a completely scorched earth.
Yeah.
With me like sucking the blood out of a rat.
Oh,
I've still survived.
That made my mouth go dry. You can't do that, you're a vegan.
I think all bets are off if you've had this like heat death of the universe. I think you're fine to... There's no one to virtue signal to on a dead planet. So
Everyone for themselves.
I don't think I can technically say I'm vegan because I have eggs, so I think I'm plant-based.
And you do have feathers on your outfit.
Do have feathers on my outfit, yeah.
But
ethically sourced feathers, I have to say.
You're 90% plant-based, I would say.
I'd say it's more... I have... to get into it, I think I'm allergic to eggs. I've inherited my colon from my father, so I get the shits if I have the eggs.
My Father's Colon, a memoir from Kiri Pritchard-McLean.
By Anna Sewell.
Black Beauty.
Yeah, Black Beauty, well done, yeah. Did you have that book on tape?
No, I had it as a book with really nice illustrations in, but I just remember, you know that bit where they take Ginger to the knacker's yard? Fucking brutal, horrible. Do you know, I think that's where all my empathy came from, like, you know...
Fucking hell.
No, listen,
Damning.
Right, so listen to this. People might think that I'm very harsh and very sort of... And part of the reason that I am quite, harsh or straightforward...
Perceived, yeah.
Is because I talk about that, I was speaking to Tim about this the other day, I feel things very deeply and I hate it. So, you know, if something bad happens, it's like I can actually feel the pain, as it were. Anyway, the point is, I fucking hate being like that, which is the reason that I have barriers up.
So it's like a preservation thing.
Yes, I hate it.
So you're an arsehole because you care too much.
Absolutely. If I could have most of my feelings removed, I would. 100%. I'd love to be a psychopath.
What you're describing is a lobotomy.
Yeah, why not?
Sometimes I see, like drawings of Victorian women who've been lobotomised, and I was like, oh, that's fucking lovely. You know, sometimes you look at your diary and you're like, I'm not home for 3 weeks now. I'm like, cut it out.
Yeah.
Get it out. Come on, out you come.
Anyway, how did we get onto this? What was the point?
Welcome to the episode.
This is the Q&A.
It is.
There was a reason that we...
Can't remember why we started talking about
idea.
it. Maybe it was a prison, something to do with bars.
Something like that. Who fucking knows? This is where we are. Also, this is not a good design. I assume it's not only allowed to be there because it's a listed building, perhaps, but bars on windows.
Yes, hopefully there'll be no fire. I say, looking at the 6 bright lights pointing in our faces. Okay, I'm going to start. Thank you very much for all your questions. This one comes from Ed Lawrence.
Hello, Ed.
Hello, Ed. I'd say Ed is a mediumly frequent... I recognise the name. Always got good vibes.
Yeah.
Great podcast. Great start, Ed. Great podcast. Really good balance between comedy, information and empathy for the victims. When Ed is saying victims, he's referring to past boyfriends that we discussed. Thanks for what you guys do. My question is this. Some of the earlier podcasts such as Gacy, Jack the Ripper and the Moors murders were before the detailed multi-parters that we subsequently had and were when you were forming your style of podcasting. Would you be tempted to revisit these killers in more depth?
That's a kind way of saying they're shit, isn't it? Thank you, Ed. You've got a real way with
and
words.
I love the podcast. Please keep on doing it. I thought thought The Moors Murders was a multi-part. I thought it was one of our first multi-parters.
It might have been, but I mean, only 2 parts, I reckon we probably went to. I don't think we went over that. I don't know. I think that's a question for you to all answer. As well. Do you want us to do that? I'm not averse to doing that.
No.
I'd quite like to do that. Particularly The Moors Murders and Jack the Ripper. I mean, Gacy not really asked, but those 2 I'd like to possibly revisit.
I think The Moors Murders would end up being genuinely 10 parts.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. And Jack the Ripper, yeah, because that's the first episode. The first episode of anything's shite, innit?
Absolutely, yeah. It was just like The American Office in that it was a beat-for-beat remake of the British Office when we first did our first episode. No, I think Jack the Ripper, because also I would say that since we did that episode, we did it because at the time a book was coming out that was going, it was a Polish guy, which tells you a lot about the climate of when we started a decade ago. And since then, that brilliant book, The Five, has come out, which has sort of reframed everything, I think. I don't know, do you know why Jack the Ripper is a difficult one? Is because I always just don't think you get the same kind of like when you don't know who it is.
I prefer it. No
Really?
trial. Oh, yes. Unknown. Torture for the families. Sorry about that. Heaven for me. Can't be asked. We'll get into the trial. I don't know. I think it's quite... I don't mind it being unsolved.
We're up for it. You let us know.
Yeah,
let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Is that what people say?
Like and subscribe. Or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, let us know. That's a question for you lot.
Yeah.
But again, Ed, very polite way of saying could have been better.
They
and I
wank.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I always say don't listen to the first few episodes. BTK, I'd love to revisit actually.
BTK is what I tell people to go in on because I think that was a good one. But yeah, that's
I'd love to revisit BTK. Second question, here we go. I'm forever in need of true crime book recommendations. What are some of your favourites? That's from Nicole.
This is your area, really.
Well,
Oh, can I suggest a controversial one, an unusual one?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sort of halfway through at the moment, and there's a big true crime element. Paris Hilton's autobiography.
What are you reading that for?
Because, I don't know, I heard it was good from someone, I can't remember who, started listening to it. The beginning of it is I'm not that mad on, as she talks about her sort of ADHD and things. She gets sent, essentially, to this sort of correctional facility for... like last chance saloon for problematic teens that then was all the rage, and they were targeting rich families who were like, we don't know what to do with this kid, and they were like, we can save your child. It is unbelievably fucked up what went on there, and then it's been sort of like huge investigations and arrests, but the cavity searching teenage girls make it like it unbelievable stuff, and she kept doing runners and yeah, they've all got PTSD from it. It's turned into this mad true crime book, and it is a really difficult listen in my case because I'm not reading it.
I just can't warm to her. Ever since I saw that photograph of her wearing a t-shirt that said "Stop being poor."
I think that was photoshopped. I don't think it ever said that.
I don't know. I just don't know what. Good luck. I'm glad she's writing a book. Sorry those things happened to her, but I don't need to hear the opinions of a fucking billionaire. I'm just not interested. Sorry, Paris, but whatever, you know. But yeah, sounds interesting. Sorry, but no. Any others?
In Cold Blood, I was like really blown away by how that like felt to read, I guess, because it's like reading a kind of...
Some people think it's still think it's fiction.
Really?
Yeah, so some people that have read that are like, oh my God, what, this is true?
Yes, because it plays out like it's like you're reading of Mice and Men or something like an Arthur Miller kind of thing, or a Tennessee Williams. So
John Steinbeck.
Yeah, it plays out in that kind of American fiction way, but then it's got this wild story at the centre of it, and almost feels like a love affair as well with Capote. And yeah, so I thought that was really great. But you're really up in your true crime books. Go on.
Gordon Byrne, the true crime writer, sadly died, but I will say now the best true crime book ever been written, in my opinion, is Happy Like Murderers by Gordon Byrne. Somebody's Husband, Somebody's Son, about the Yorkshire Ripper. Happy Like Murderers is about Fred and Rose West.
Yeah.
Somebody's Husband, Somebody's Son is about the Yorkshire Ripper. Just two brilliant books. I must revisit Happy Like Murderers once every, I'd say 2 years now maybe. But you can open that on any page and you will be like, what? It is unbelievable. It's so well written, so well researched. unbelievable. So
I love that you go back to that. I watch all the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors every 2 years, and that's what you go back to.
Obviously, I love my Kindle, and there's a lot of free stuff on it. Well, if you're Kindle Unlimited like me. If anyone works for Kindle, surely just give me a nice Kindle. I'd love a new one. Kenny Jr. I'm on now. I had Kenneth, who was the original Kindle, and sadly he broke, so now I've got Kenny Jr.
Do you feel like he's on his way out as well?
No, well, yeah, because I take it everywhere. It keeps getting knocked about.
Okay, yeah.
So anyway, look, the point is, there's loads of stuff on Kindle Unlimited that is, I'd say, sensationally written.
Yeah.
A little bit grubby.
Yeah.
However, they cover a lot of crimes that I've never heard of.
Oh, really?
So, very useful for this podcast, because the guy that I told you about that you did the fire arsonist, that was in one of these.
Oh, really?
They're very easy to read. They're very sensationally written. They're very grubby, but it does introduce you to cases that you wouldn't necessarily hear about, and then you can go and find other information about it. A lot of those, and they're always called things like shocking murder. It's like the modern version of a Victorian newspaper.
I was going to say, yeah.
But they're quite good if you want to find out about different crimes and then research it yourself.
A reputable source.
But yeah, Gordon Byrne. What else have I read recently?
You were reading one the other day that was different about Fred and Rose.
I was listening to that podcast. It was a podcast. Just for a bit of atmosphere, a bit of backstage atmosphere. That's what I was listening to. And there was something else I read recently. I can't remember what it was, but I did get one. I was reading one when I went to America with my friend about there's some students that were murdered. Oh God, where was it? This is terrible. I can't remember. I'll message you about it or something. But it was all right. Maybe
this is the part where Owen can use his superior skills and put Rachel has not remembered, or Rachel has remembered and it's this book.
It's this, yeah. And that was all right. But in general, it's got to be the Gordon Byrne. I mean,
that's the gold star for you, gold standard.
So sad that he died relatively young. I mean,
did he?
I think he was only in his 40s, and I just think there would have been so much more to come from him. Very sad. Excellent books.
There you go. We're going to have a memorials bit at the end, like at the BAFTAs.
To Gordon.
This is from Colleen, who says, I'm a big fan of the podcast and you both do a great job and obviously have lots of talent.
Oh, Colleen,
I don't think it's obvious. I only came across your podcast around Christmas and I'm obsessed and working my way through them. Some questions, sorry if these are repeats from previous Q&As. Number one, don't think we've had this before. If you were Prime Minister, and what 3 things would you implement first regarding crime and justice in the UK?
If someone's missing, don't wait 24 hours to look. If someone is missing and their family is saying this is unusual for this person to be missing, listen to those people and go and have a look. Mm-hmm. That is the first thing. Second thing,
I would, trigger warning, it's going to get heavy, I would make rape illegal. Because if you look at the rates of how few people report it, then how few are convicted, it is essentially legal to do it in this country. So that would be my first thing that I would bring in.
I would put some sort of, I don't know how you would manage this, some sort of way that people can just not name people on social media and, the gossip that's online around certain cases. I think that's a real issue. I don't know how you'd implement that. Bring back capital punishment? No, wouldn't do that.
Massive prison reform. So rather than having people constantly reoffending because they're sort of disenfranchised, huge sweeping prison reforms, the ones that have been recommended for years and years and years, and that work very well in Nordic countries where they're shutting down prisons. Something
that I think should be done is, and I speak from probably from experience. Well, yeah, from experience here. Young working class men who are just forgotten, who just don't have any, they don't feel they have any worth.
There's no stake, is there?
They're stuck in this cycle of anger, no sort of focus, no sort of, like, and it ends up, 9 times out of 10, ends up in drugs, this cycle of misery, ends up in awful situations. And I think there needs to be something done from an earlier age, particularly with young working class men, that you need to get them early and get them enthusiastic and feel valued. That's something I think, I think bringing back people learning trades would be a good thing, I often think people in my life that have not gone a good way, I think, would they done better if they'd had a carpentry course? Yes, probably. And it might sound silly, but I do think that kind of starting
some
earlier,
purpose, right? Something to
give people purpose. Absolutely, particularly young working class men, give them a purpose.
And also, I feel like this is sort of like maybe you just need shitloads of investment in mental health. Like you just need absolutely shitloads of investment in mental health, because most of our problems, health, etc., come from the fact that people aren't being supported, and therefore are more likely to have problems with addiction, or no fixed abode. That's quite an old-fashioned phrase to use, isn't it?
I like that. It's nice.
So many problems come from mental health. So just loads of money on those. Should have done a funny one, I reckon.
It's very difficult, isn't it? What's a funny one? Okay.
Make it illegal to be gay again. Half my audience members.
Okay, if you're Prime Minister, 3 implement regarding crime and justice, okay, make me the Prime Minister and Head of Justice and the Queen. There we go. I'll sort it out.
Some kind of prosecution for politicians who willingly lie in Parliament.
Well, that's a full-time conveyor belt. That's it.
But there should be some. If they knowingly tell a lie and mislead, then there should be repercussions.
What's Colleen's second question?
Is, since doing the podcast, have you changed any way you behave, such as locking doors, not walking home, or not having headphones in? I was literally just telling you about this. I went to a hotel last night, ground floor, had 2 patio door things, went to shut them and just thought, I'll just try these. They were both unlocked. And then I was getting changed and I heard a noise. The window that a human can very easily climb through was wide open. So I think I avoided a murdering last night, because then I could see a figure outside the window when I went to bed. So I'm definitely more paranoid. Colleen, you probably haven't got to the episode yet where we are talking about, I think, Richard Ramirez, a house invader anyway, and I get so scared coming in late that I sleep on the sofa and piss in a saucepan. So yes, it does. I'm very scared. If I listen,
that's to make that lovely piss sauce that you make, isn't it?
I make a lovely bisque out of it. A piss bisque. We'll do a recipe for that one day. I'm terrible for listening to true crime podcasts and then getting in from a gig at 3 o'clock in the morning and phoning my partner to come and get me, to walk me from the car to, and Owen, you will know how short a distance it is from the car to the door to my farm, but I just get really scared. So I think it's definitely made me more nervous.
I think I've always been hyper aware, but possibly that's because I'm from a city.
Oh, I thought you were going to say short.
Well, that as well. Possibly that's because I'm from a city and also a woman. I don't... For example, when I get off the tube getting back late at night, I always ring my mum.
Do you?
Yeah.
Whatever time of night it is?
Yeah. She's always like, ring me when you get up. And I always...
Oh, I'm struggling to find any cunt who'll answer the phone today.
Always ring. Don't ring Tim. That's weird, isn't it? I always ring my mum. To have, company, but secondly, also because I've always got something to whinge about. I don't, I won't have my AirPods in certain situations. I don't like sitting with my back to a door.
Really?
No, because I always think someone could easily...
I won't sleep with earphones, what are they called?
AirPods.
No, what they called?
Oh, earbuds.
Earbuds.
Yeah.
Those things that make things quieter. I wouldn't sleep with them in, or mask, because I'm like, I want to be able to see.
Yeah, I don't.
And hear who's going to murder me in my sleep.
I always, as soon as I get in a hotel, I always put the big lock on. Put big lock on.
I didn't know there was a big lock.
That one. I always do that. To be honest with you, as hyper aware as I am, I'm always aware of people walking too close to me and I'll always move.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. It's always men.
Yeah.
I'm always aware of that. But this is going to sound awful. I am more scared of ghosts than I am of actual people. As Tim often says to me, well, you tweak the nose of the supernatural, and here you are. It does a very funny impression of me, actually. That is so accurate. It renders me incapable of anything because it's so good.
Really?
Yeah, you know when something's so fun. I love it when somebody takes the piss out of you so well. That's one of my favourite.
Will you get him to send a message of it and we can play it?
I'll get him to do it, yeah. I really love it when somebody just rips the piss out of you at a level that's so good that you cannot contest it. That's one of my favourite things. You know, it makes you go weak. Do you know what I mean?
I know, because I hate that.
Oh, I fucking love it.
That boils my piss.
I love it. It makes me, go so weak. My sister's really good at it. My mum's great at it. Tim's quite good at it. Oh, I love it. I'm like, stop. Love it. Can't get enough of it. But I'll tell you what, conversely, Tim can't take it back. So, very good at dishing it out. Not very good at taking it back.
Third question from Colleen is... do you keep up to date with true crime? Do you follow any particular news or YouTube podcasts?
I followed the Lucy Letby case.
You did, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And I was convinced it was going to come out that she'd stalked somebody.
Really?
Yeah, still might. She's got that vibe about her. Yeah, I suppose so. If it's in the news, I keep up to date with it. But yeah, I think when it's a big thing like Lucy Letby, it's natural to be interested in it, isn't it?
Yeah, you know me, my obsession.
Just round here, round the corner from here.
Isn't it? Is Arthur Knight, aka Nicholas Rossi.
My God! If I hear you going on about this guy once more,
I'm obsessed.
You're obsessed with him?
Absolutely obsessed. Really pushing for us to do a special on him because every sentence that I read about it is unbelievable and. Yeah, it's unbelievable in every sort of range that word can encompass.
Her eyes come alive talking about this.
The game is afoot.
Are we going to do it as an episode?
Yeah. I really want to do Arthur Knight / Nicholas Rossi as an episode. I think it's very interesting.
Well, we're going to, so...
Do you know what? True crime, you'd hate it, but a true crime podcast, maybe I've mentioned this before, that I don't normally go for true crime, but there's a podcast called The Storyteller, and it's called Naked Villainy, and it is just about the trial. So it's many episodes, but it's this brilliant journalist. It's a world first. It's a Scottish trial, and they allow her to record the trial and then put it out episodically. And it is about the murder of a really brilliant young scientist by her ex-husband is accused of it.
Having said that, the Lucy Letby podcast that I listened to was just about the trial.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But
the Daily Mail one?
Yeah, Daily Mail, but it was done very well.
If it's done well, it's done well.
It was very, very good.
This case, the Naked Villainy is really empathetic, really sort of brilliantly done. And she was killed when she was very young, in her 30s maybe, if that. And the trial is happening when he's in his 80s. So it's this cold case that they were just waiting. Did DNA move on far enough? It's fascinating. It's really
I love it when it catches up with them.
Yeah. Yes.
Ha.
It's fucking nuts that it wasn't prosecuted first time round, to be honest, in the 70s. It's absolutely wild. But there we go. Thank you, Colleen.
Ooh.
Oh, look at us. We've synced.
What are you proudest of in your careers with All Killa? The supportive community you help to cultivate is incredible. When I'm being a cunt, I often stop and think, is that legendary behaviour? Beth.
Well, I love that legends pull themselves up for being a cunt, because I tell you what, Rachel and I do no such thing in the privacy of our WhatsApp group.
Also, define being a cunt. Define it. You know? I
feel like you've been a bit of one now.
I think, Beth, what you've done is you've joined a cult. And you should just be yourself. And you know what? Sometimes everyone's a bit of a cunt, and that's life, innit? But thanks for writing in. What am I most proud of? I don't know. The fact that people listen, that's... I'm
proud that I'm proud that we've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm proud of everything we've got to do in terms of massive live shows that we're doing tonight. There's over 1,000 people coming to see an independent podcast is like pretty unreal. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's loads of podcasts that people go and see, but like we are not hugely famous like the people who are hosting them. We haven't got big like juggernaut machines behind. We've got one man sat behind that camera, and then it's us, which is amazing. I'm proud that it's a genuine like female friendship, and that's probably what people connect with as much as anything. And I'm proud that we were one of the first people to talk about crime in a way that doesn't absolutely hate victims.
Yes.
And think it's the best part is when you get to describe what happened to these women and, you know, what parts of their body were removed.
Yeah, that's it. I'd agree with that.
Boxed it all off?
Boxed it off. Thanks, Beth.
Also, I can touch my toes, but only in the morning, weirdly.
I think that's I don't know. You know, it's weird. I'm saying, well, what you're proud of in your career. I don't think I ever take time to go, oh, that was good. Oh,
yeah. I think with this thing, you're just on to the next thing, aren't you?
And it's quite rare that you ever take a moment to go, oh, 5 years ago I was working in a London Business School doing admin, and now this. You know, I don't think you take stock of it, mainly because you're constantly going, oh, fuck.
I'm going to have to go back to working in that London Business School.
I've got to go back to the library. In fact, that's because the one thing my mum always says to me when I'm moaning, she goes, do you want to go back to the library? I'm like, no, I don't. So that's what keeps me motivated, as it were. Thank you, Beth.
I love this one from Glyn, who says, if either of you were serial killers, what would you like your nickname to be?
Glyn's very to the point. I like him.
Yeah, no pissing about there. No fat on that question. I would like to be the Welsh widower. I would like to murder my ex-husbands.
I've said this before, haven't I? The Manchester Terrier. That's me, the Manchester Terrier. I don't know what I'd do.
Just have sex with people's cushions and legs.
That's it, yeah. I would ruin
You're doing that already.
Ruin your home furnishings. That's what I'd do. The Manchester Terrier and the Welsh Widow.
They're pretty good, actually.
That's great. Wrestling names as well.
They are, aren't they?
Perfect.
Okay, got another one here.
Oh, is it? Hang on, is this me?
No, I think. Oh yeah, it is. Sorry.
Firstly, I want to say thank you for the podcast and keeping us all constantly entertained.
Once a month.
Constantly. My question is, would either of you ever consider appearing on Taskmaster? And if you booked onto the same series, who would win? Wouldn't happen. Looking forward to seeing Kiri in York in October, and I was wondering if Rachel got to the Ghost Emporium in the Shambles after her gig last year. This is from Simon. Thank you, Simon. The Taskmaster thing, it's so mad. People go, would you go on it? It's like, you've got to be asked. You can't just go, hello, is that Taskmaster?
Listen.
Full disclosure, I've never seen it.
Taskmaster
I don't watch comedy.
It's about the only comedy show on television that can still sell at all for you. Mm-hmm. There is no one is being offered Taskmaster and saying no to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you're asking is, why haven't you been asked yet?
Of course.
We wouldn't go on the same series, because if you look, they do one like female stand-up, one female actor, and then that's it really.
Yeah, of course I'd go on it. Who would say no? You'd be a lunatic to say no.
Love to go on it.
I'd love to go on it, and although I've seen clips of it and stuff like that, but I think I'd really throw myself into it if I was lucky enough to be on it.
I think I would end up just always. I think I'd be terrible. I think Rachel's wily like a fox. She would, if we were on the same series, she would definitely do better than I would. I think the amount of times I would resort to brute force would be embarrassing. Like whatever the thing, they're like, write a poem, and I'd be like, punch a poem, you mean? So I think I would be very bad at it if I did it, but would still obviously love to do it one day. I'm really excited. Is this the Ghost Emporium? They're the ones that sell the
little wooden ghost, yeah?
Yeah. I really want to go there. York, I'm really excited. I'm hoping I get to stay either the night before
Where's
or the
the
night
gig?
after. The Basement. Lovely Al Greaves' gig. Nearly sold out.
Lovely guy.
Yes. Hasn't been very well.
I know.
Yeah.
I messaged him.
Yeah, I need to message him.
Lovely guy.
Very sweet.
Very sweet guy.
And a quite active member of the Labour Party. And always does a very good rider. Really, really incredible. But gets lots of plant-based stuff.
Runs a great gig.
Yes, so I am hoping that I'll stay over because I love York. And I really want to spend more time there.
I stayed, in fact, here's a tip for you. I stayed in, because it was my last tour date last year, in
Did you send me the place?
Yeah, what the fuck was it called?
It's something like historical, isn't it?
It was the Guy Fawkes
Yes.
birthplace. It was great. You should stay there. I didn't really get a chance to really enjoy it because, oh god, what a trip that was. Because did the last tour date, stayed there. Tim's mum and dad came to the tour date, which was lovely. I had breakfast. Then I had to go back to go to Manchester, and then I flew to New York.
Oh, Rachel.
Just
what a life.
The thing is, like, you know, people go, oh, it must be great that sometimes you're just going, can I just fucking go home?
Yeah, can I stop carrying dirty knickers around in a case next to me?
Listen, another thing. If I'm away for a while, wash them in the hotel.
Do you?
Yeah, too fucking right. I ain't carrying dirty kecks around with me.
Well, you'd rather wash them in a sink?
I wash them in the sink and I dry them.
What if they don't dry in time?
They
You've
always
then got damp knickers.
I know how to plan my life. I either put the heating on in the hotel or I pop them on the windowsill.
I've never met a hotel where I knew what the heating system was.
Well, that is true. I've washed T-shirts as well in hotel rooms and hung them out. Well, the amount you can open the window, I hung them up to dry. Do it.
No, I'd rather carry a bag of dirty pants around with me. Also, because I think if someone steals my suitcase, I'm like, fucking good. You deal with my discharge.
Oh my God.
I'm going to get that on a T-shirt.
So, I didn't get to go to the Ghost Emporium, but I would love to go, and the little ghosts are very nice.
And there's another thing there. There's another weird shop, right? A really cool weird shop. Is that another emporium? But yeah, there's so much stuff I want to see and do in York. In fact, if I can't stay over for my tour, I'm gonna book a hotel. I'm gonna go with my partner for a couple of days.
Yeah, I think you should do. That's nice. Lovely place.
So yeah, York's a great one. I think if you're into weird stuff. Absolutely, I love that you kept all the compliments in.
Of course, why not?
Absolutely amazing podcast, and now an essential part of mine and my partner's Christmas. Oh yeah, because we released one on Christmas. Thank you. If you had endless budgets to make a documentary, what subject matter would you pick? Would you want to shine a light on something you already know about or learn something new for yourself?
Ooh, that's a lovely question. Molly. Well, Molly.
I'm desperate to make a documentary.
About?
There's so many things I want to do documentaries about.
What the fuck is going on out there?
It's like when you're in Turkey and Galatasaray are playing. Such a niche reference. Would you like me to go first?
Yeah.
If there's a couple of quite serious answers coming up.
Oh God, here we go.
Here's a fun one. I've got a farm. I'm a vegan. I'm trying to make my farm vegan. I think that'll be quite an interesting documentary because it's
like the antidote to Clarkson's farm.
Yeah, exactly. Because also I like farmers and I like vegans and they fucking hate each other, but they want the same things. So I'd love to do a documentary about that. Mm-hmm. I think there is a documentary in my recently now convicted paedophile headmaster.
That Pratt.
Yeah, the absolute Pratt. My mother's words. Because there was a big
And as for Foden, Pratt.
Pratt is putting it mildly, is what she said.
It mildly.
Yeah, very mildly.
Pratt.
There was a cover-up. There was a guy at the council who knew 5 years ago and he covered it up.
Wow.
So, yeah. And it's just, it's horrific.
I'd like to make a documentary about Oasis or something like that. About lifelong fans, that kind of thing. I'd like to make a documentary about graveyards.
Oh yeah, you love a graveyard, don't you?
Spend so much time in them. Yeah, it's like the history of graveyards or like unusual graveyards and how... Or death. I'd love to make a documentary about death. Love that.
I pitched one to S4C that me and Maggie Noggy would do. Maybe it wasn't S4C, maybe it was somewhere else, called Death in the West, about death in Wales, because it's such a weird... Well, the Welsh fucking love death. It must be the half of you that it speaks to. But yeah, there's so many... And Maggie Noggy at the moment is doing... Well, Chris, rather, is doing a documentary. Been to India, been to South America, where they have the Day of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and done all the rituals and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think it's being filmed in Welsh and English.
I'd love to see that. Something like that. I'd love to make... Yeah, I don't know, anything eerie, anything creepy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you give me the money, I'll think of something.
Yeah, if you had an unlimited budget, honestly, I would do fucking anything.
If we had unlimited budget, I would steal that money and you would never see me again. I would say, I need £6 million to make this documentary and I would never darken your door ever again. I would change my name.
£6 million?
Sure, why not? I don't want to be too greedy. You know, that'll be enough. I'll be out of your hair.
This is like when Gypsy Rose Blanchett is like, $4,000 will last us forever. I honestly don't think £6 million in this current climate would go that far.
Buy a house.
Yeah.
I will live frugally. You will never hear from me again. I will be somewhere.
Who wants to fake their own death so they can live on a shoestring budget?
Me. I'll be fine. Don't you worry about me. 6 million seems like a fair amount to steal. You know, I'm not. It's not going to ruin your company because if you've got 6 million, it's not going to ruin your company. It's not going to, you know, I'm not going to be under pressure. I'll just be out of the way.
That's very reasonable of you.
Yeah.
So there you go. If anyone wants to commission that documentary about Rachel getting £6 million just so she can live on a shoestring budget, because I would watch it. Happy 10 years of All Killa No Filla.
Woo!
Thank you. Thoroughly enjoyed the live show in Cardiff. I'm so glad. We loved that show. That was absolutely belting. My question is, what would be the ultimate venue for you to play a live show in? Keep being the best podcast out there. Emma!
So I've put here Emma, one of my faves.
Love Emma.
So Emma,
You look great.
she's fantastic. Love Emma.
She looked great on the night. Did you see it on Insta?
She looked lovely. She's fantastic. Love you, Emma.
Ultimate venue. Genuinely.
Barrowlands, Glasgow.
Really?
Love to do a podcast there.
Yeah, but I think about how it's to play the room. Do you know what I mean? You and I have got this thing. You love a music venue.
Yeah,
and
I love a music
they've got
venue,
bouncy
yeah.
floors, the seating's not right. I don't like them to play.
I love them. Love them.
This is a really great one. The Opera House in Manchester. Like, there's not a venue I would that's above the
Dodger Stadium. I don't know. Like, I'd quite like to play somewhere like in New Orleans, like an old theatre in New Orleans. Cool. You know, that'd be a good one, wouldn't it? Something like that.
Yeah. What's really cool? Graceland.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, we would love to do a live show at Graceland.
That'd be brilliant. Perfect.
There's got to be something. Do it by his grave.
Well, I have been, as you know, to Graceland, and I've been to Memphis. There's plenty of places we could definitely get a gig in Memphis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make it happen. Thank you, Emma.
That's a really good question.
Oh, this is a long one. I am a long-time listener of All Killa No Filla. Been listening since your very first episode about Jack the Ripper.
Wow.
And I know you don't really cover any true crime cases or serial killers that are too recent or currently ongoing, but my question is, are there any current true crime and/or serial killer cases that you are following? For example, here in the US, the media has been covering the Long Island serial killer, in brackets, Lisk, case now, and now that a suspect was arrested last summer. I didn't know that. And Brian Kohberger, the accused killer of 4 students in Idaho last year, is still awaiting trial. I think that's the book that I was talking about, the killing of some students in Idaho. Put a marker in that, Owen, thank you.
Put a marker on that, whatever the fuck that means.
She says, thank you so much. I really enjoy the podcast, especially the episodes with Chris the Druid.
Yes,
this from Kristen in New Jersey, USA. Quite similar to the other question, but do we follow any current ones?
Also, what a tag, fair play to Kristen for finding a British true crime podcast.
Yeah.
From Ep 1.
I know.
Well, although is that just like, I've listened since Ep 1, but like, that's where you start with things. But I think you're saying that when, about the time we came out 10 years ago, you've been listening to it.
Thank you for listening.
Fair play for finding us. Yeah, I'm very, as I've mentioned, very interested in the Nicholas Rossi case.
Fucking hell.
Listen.
Here she is about this fucking Nicholas fucking Rossi.
And that's very current. That's happening at the moment.
Yeah, so you're interested in that. Again, it's the Lucy Letby thing for me. Really, you know, as a kid, probably the Fred and Rose West thing was something that I followed as a probably the first thing big case that I ever knew about as a kid. But I didn't know that about the Long Island serial killer, Lisk. I didn't know that a suspect had been arrested.
No, I didn't.
We should look at that. Maybe we could do a little podcast.
A little podcast. I think it'd be quite a big one, actually.
A little podcast. But thank you, Kristen.
Yeah, that's a great one. Thank you very much. Okay, I went to the Bristol show a few weeks back and I loved it. I cried laughing through it all. That's nice. I am going back over the catalogue of podcasts and Robert Ressler he does pop up time and time again. Do you think that the use of a criminal profiler is positive or negative to a serial killer case? Interesting. Yes, because he's the guy who he coined the term serial killer.
Oh, is that the guy?
Yeah, Robert Russlin is the modern godfather of forensic psychology, basically. So the question is, do you think that the use of a criminal profiler is positive or negative to a serial killer case?
If they're any good, it's positive. If they're shit, no.
Yes. Well, I tell you what, actually one of the true crime podcasts I do listen to is Crime Analyst with Dr. Laura Richards, who came up with, the Dash Register and things like that. And it's really interesting because did I send you this? Do you remember that podcast that's called Ghost Story, and it's about a ghost? It's kind of
that family, yeah.
Yeah, and so you hear a quote from her in it, but that's it, and she is quite obviously irritated on the podcast that she's like, for free, I analysed it, gave all my advice, and it was one soundbite of 7 of us. So she's like,
I like her. She doesn't take any fucking messing, does she?
Shit, yeah. And it's so funny how much she doesn't hate men because she loves her partner, has a little boy and all that stuff, but she is poor me syndrome, and she gets really angry about misogyny, basically.
Yeah, but I have to. We went to a thing that she was talking at.
Yeah, you really fancied her, didn't you?
Oh my god! Look, I'm a straight woman, but hello, Laura. Those fishnets, yes, please. You are clever and sexy.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's. I think I used to be a bit blasé about her.
Claire Balding, Laura Richards. I've got a type. Oh my god, I've got a type.
Blonde and in control.
Blonde.
Well-spoken.
Confident, well-spoken. Yeah. Oh my god, who knew? Who knew?
Imagine if the next episode I'm blonde and I'm like, what?
Into horse racing.
Yeah, so she basically does a breakdown of Fairburn, that the guy who is suspected in it, and it's fascinating, and the way she can, her and another criminal profiler do it, and it's amazing. I think that if you get people who are really experienced, often, especially the victims are women, because they start with victimology, women know how women think and behave, and broad strokes there, obviously, but it's really invaluable to have someone great doing it. That's what I think. But I think there's probably lots of people who, because if you get a bad criminal profiler who's making quite stereotypical things, assumptions, it's probably quite damaging.
She said something quite choice about a podcast, didn't she? Do you remember when we saw her? Yeah.
Did you say something spicy about it? Which one? Yeah.
She was like, yes, well, it's as far as I'm concerned, they don't do enough about the victims, and I don't think it's funny at all. And I was like, oh, Laura.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I think she'd hate us, maybe, but...
Well, because I recommended that I had to do this thing. It was like a bit of promo for this tour, and it was what podcast makes you sad or angry? And I was like, hers, because there's so much injustice and forgotten victims. And she always starts off by talking. It's all very victim focused, and so she was kind of sharing that about going on, Oh,
she shared it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, did you tell her about me?
No.
Oh my god, tell her about me. Oh. Imagine that. Me on a date with her, I wouldn't know where to fucking start. I'd come in dressed as a little bloke or something, wouldn't I? Right, Laura. You're right, darling.
I'm imagining Bobby Ball for some reason.
That's what I imagined in my head.
Little moustache.
Exactly what I had in my
head. Rock on, Laura.
All right, Laura, love you. All right. That's exactly what I had in my head, Bobby Ball. Is it a final question?
I think it's the final question.
Is this me asking this one?
Yeah.
Oh yes, this person, you sent us a nice long message. You've not been well. Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, Carly, we hope you're feeling on the mend.
On the mend. She did say enough about my waterworks, both kinds. Now, we often hear about things you two disagree on, do we? But are there any other significant interests you guys have in common that make you great friends apart from true crime and feminism? Thank you, Carly.
I think we both like the same kind of fashion and music.
Yeah, we like clothes. We like...
What else have we got?
Do we like the same music? I don't know if we like the same music. Do we?
Well,
like
we both like the Killers.
Yeah, we both like the Killers.
I like Oasis, just not to the extent that you do.
Yeah, so
I think boys with guitars.
Yeah, we like that. We like
and good, solid. No, I'm not even going to get into it.
Go on.
Well, I was going to be like good, solid pop, but I mean it in the kind of way of like Queen and
Elton
John and stuff
pop.
like that. Yeah,
it's pop music, pop rock.
Fashion and clothes is a big one. That's what something we'll talk about.
Weird shit.
Anything weird.
Ghosts, taxidermy, ghosts.
Yeah, cryptids.
Monsters.
Anything like that. Yeah, I love a monster. I love a bit of folklore. Witches.
Yeah. Although, do you know, I like witches not up there in my big top 10.
Oh, I really like local folkloric witch stuff.
Yeah, I kind of do. Maybe I've been growing up in the north and Pendle Hill being a regular thing. Yeah, kind of like anything weird, anything,
macabre,
gross, weird. Yeah, so I suppose I love the macabre.
You don't love everything gross because you clean your knickers.
Yeah, I do, actually. And anything, but also
gossip.
Yeah, love a gossip, mate. Comedy.
Yeah. We've got a lot in there's not much that I think we take different paths or approaches to things.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes, and it flips who's doing what. So sometimes Rachel's being contrarian, sometimes I'm being contrarian, and I'll be like, I think that person's a fucking prick, and you're like, no, they're fine.
Yeah,
there'll be a lot of that goes on.
The thing is, I think you can't be friends with somebody who you share the same. You got fundamental things you got in common, but you shouldn't be friends with somebody. Yes, I agree. Yes, that's the same. Nothing better than a heated debate.
I don't think we even get heated, but sometimes you'll say something and I'll be being an asshole about someone, and I'll go away and think, yeah, maybe they're all right, maybe they're
I never
fine.
do that. I always think, no, they're still a cunt, and she's wrong. So thank you for that, Carly.
Yeah, but sometimes you're like, I did a weekend or something. You're like, lovely.
Yeah, take it back.
Yeah, exactly. I told you that.
And I am happy to say, sometimes I have made the wrong judgment on somebody.
Same, and I've ended up doing a podcast for 10 years with her. But no, I think we get. There's not much I don't think there's much that we don't have in common. But we are. I think a good day out for both of us looks like the same thing. Charity shops,
theme park, spooky hotel.
Absolutely. There's the triple.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's and talk about low maintenance.
Food is the only thing. It just in terms of you. I think you're quite like, this is what I like. Yeah. Whereas I'm a bit more like, let's try this.
I quite like bland food, to be honest with you. I like a ham sandwich with no mayonnaise. No.
I would have have had a mayonnaise sandwich. I used to have mayonnaise wraps when I was a student.
I'm not into big sauce things, like that. Just give me a sandwich and I'm happy. Chips, sandwich. I'm having a Pepe's Piri Piri tonight. The finest. It's so good. So much better than Nando's.
I can't believe it's the first.
You could have a bean burger.
Thank you so much. I would rather eat fucking dog shit than have a bean burger.
Ooh, bean burger and chips, please.
Can I have the driest thing you have, please?
Do you know why is falafel so fucking dry?
That's why they put hummus with it. I'm like, this is chickpea squared.
I'm like this.
You're moistening a chickpea with another chickpea.
Yeah.
Like the bar's so low.
Yeah.
But every now and then a really good falafel wrap is great.
But that's all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been
that was just enough. I like that.
Just enough.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Anything else? Oh, and thank you. Where are we now? I can't remember what month we are. Thank you to everyone who's come to see me on my Peacock tour. Mm-hmm. I'm on tour until December 2024.
What? Oh, that's this year.
Yeah.
I thought you meant next. I was like, fucking hell, what?
No. This is to the end of this year. What month is this coming out, love? July. So we'll definitely be on sale. Halloween is on sale now in Ireland. We're doing 2 dates?
2 dates.
2 dates in Ireland for Halloween. Anything else?
It's just before Halloween.
I did a neck burp then. Probably heard that.
Just before Halloween it is.
Yeah, just before
It'll
Halloween.
be great. Dublin, Belfast.
We are so excited. 2 cities we
really
absolutely
excited.
Love.
And
I'm doing them on tour as well. Might have already done them on tour.
And that's it really.
That's it really.
Edinburgh's on sale. Come if you want.
Oh yeah, Rachel's got 2 shows at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Shows.
I'm doing 3 goddamn dates and no more. But my sketch group Tarot will be up there if you fancy watching some absolute pricks in 90s.
So that's it. And I need a wee now, so...
Do you?
Yeah.
I thought you went just before we started.
Well, are you bladder shaming me?
No. Just keeping an eye on things. Thank God you didn't sneeze. Thanks.
Hey, nothing wrong with my innards, I'll have you know.
Innards?
Very
Why
strong.
are you calling it innards?
Got a very strong pelvic.
And there's no shame if you don't have that.
Oh, see? This is the problem.
This is the problem.
Anyway.
Just pointing a thumb in my face.
Anyway.
Thanks so much for listening
Bye.
and chatting. Bye.